for the stream to go live here. Looks like we're coming up. And we'll wait for Amazon to receive the stream data. Okay, it looks like YouTube is going. And for some reason here, there it goes. Amazon is getting the data now too. All right, so I believe we are live. So what we're going to be doing today is another one of my random unboxings that we do from time to time. And I've got a bunch of stuff that came in. And so what I'm going to do first is just kind of shoot an intro in case I want to use this on the main channel, because we're in the holiday season, so things get crazy for me. I don't have as much time with family and everything to like do a lot of video. So I am going to record an intro just in case I want to use this later. And then I'll probably have this whole session just recorded so Jake can chop it up and make something usable out of this at some point. So we got a bunch of people popping into the YouTube chat to start with. We got Samir, Tristan, Lee, let's see what else we got here. Francis from London. Tristan Leonard is here. We've got Dr. Phoebe Rises again. Welcome back. Kevin Crawford. And looks like we have a desyncing of the audio once again. So I'm going to stop the stream and restart. You'll hear a little bit of a break there. Hang on, folks. So I'm going to start back up again. And hopefully the Amazon stream will survive. And let's see what happens here. Bear with me, folks, for 1 second. Just want to make sure Amazon is going to come back up here, and then we'll get started. So what we're going to be doing is unboxing stuff. I got a lot of stuff to unbox here, so we're going to go do that. And then after we're done unboxing, I have to go do some family stuff now. So hopefully the sync is better now, hopefully. All right. And we'll get started on this. Yeah, we had this problem the other day also. I think my TriCaster is starting to get old. So the hard drive might be starting to fail. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with it. So we'll get to that. And I'm potentially fighting a little cold. Everybody in my house had a cold except me, and I think it's my turn. I don't feel like I'm there yet, but I was kind of cranky last night, and I get cranky right before I get a cold. So we'll see what happens there. All right, folks, give me 1 second, and I'm just going to get one more thing over here, because I don't have anything to open these boxes up with yet. So I have to get my trusty blade here for that. And then we're going to get started. And I've got a hard out today. I got to be finishing up in about an hour. So we'll see what happens there. So let me just record the intro now that I have my knife. And I realize some things I unboxed we haven't actually shot yet. So that's a problem, but we'll get there. All right, so let's get going here. We've got a few folks who joined us. Roop is here, David Yablonsky, all the regulars are here, Dave Janes, David H. from Seattle. The doctor says I got to take some vitamin C. I'm with you on that one. All right, so let us do the intro, and then we'll move on from there. If you're on Amazon, please feel free to say hello. Don't be shy. We're simulcasting on Amazon Shopping. A hard out, Chris. That's what they say in the business. I got a hard out at this time. I got to get out of here. That's usually what people say. At least people that I know say that. I got a hard out at 4:30, so this meeting can't go longer than 4:15. That's what I usually get. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. It's Lon Seib, and it's time once again for another random... let me start again. One more time. Oops. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's Lon Seib, and it's time once again for another random unboxing. I've got 4 or 5 different things that just came in, and we're going to take them out of the box, and these will be things that we'll be looking at in greater detail with future reviews as we work our way through the new year. Now, all of these things came in under different circumstances, so as I am unpacking them, I will tell you how they got here. Some are on loan, some things I bought, some things came in free of charge, and I'll let you know about all of that. This video, though, is not being sponsored by anyone, nor is anyone reviewing it or approving it before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and start unboxing some of this stuff and see what's inside. All right, just in case we want to make a video out of this later, I'm just going to record that so I have that. Angel is here. Welcome. It's Sunday, isn't it? You know what's funny for me is that, especially at this time of the year, I have no idea what day it is. And when you're self-employed like me, you just kind of work every day of the week anyhow. So I don't have like any weekend sense anymore. But I think it's Sunday. So tomorrow's me very busy because tomorrow I'm trying to get as much done before the holiday really kicks in, because I got family coming in and everything. So, and I'm trying to take a little time off next week. So that's part of the goal here. So I have like some really good stuff in the hopper. So I've got my new Plex videos in the hopper, and I have I just shot another video on free streaming services to complement the one that we did a little while ago. So I got that in the hopper. I've got 2 computer reviews in the hopper. So I've got like 4 videos right now that are in the hopper. Tomorrow I'm going to shoot the wrap up. So we'll have the wrap up tomorrow night. And then we've got, at least 4 videos that I can spread out over the course of the week. And I've got one more that I want to do. I really want to get done before I leave, which is my retro video. Because I always do like a retro review at the end of the year. And the problem is that the retro videos are not profitable for the channel. I just like doing them. And I know some of you like watching them, but not everybody does. So they don't do very well from a viewership perspective, and they take a lot of time, because when I start doing all this retro hardware, it never works. And this year I'm doing a Mister thing, and the Mister is great, but the computer stuff on the Mister is not quite there yet. So the computers, at least, that I'm trying to demonstrate in that video. So we've got a little bit of work to do on that front. So the first thing we're going to unbox, if you're watching on Amazon, is the QNAP QGD 1600P. This is a device from QNAP that is it's a 10 gigabit network switch, but it also has a NAS built into it. So we're going to unbox this and see what's in there. Beats Baba wants my thoughts on Star Wars. Yeah, I'm going to give you some thoughts on my wrap-up video, actually, without spoilers. And I think I can do it without spoiling anything, because I have an overall philosophical discussion and a business discussion with it. I will say I like the new. See, look, here's the nice thing with Star Wars. I was talking to my cousin the other day. We were at a family wedding, and my cousin is I think he's probably about 8 or 9 years older than me. And he got me into Star Wars when I was like 2 years old. He had brought all of his action figures to our family vacation in Florida one year, and that got me hooked on it all. And he made a good point. He's like, look, I don't care what it is. If it's Star Wars, I'm going to like it because it's like such a connection to the childhood. And I think that's a really valid point. So for me, that's the way I've always looked at the Star Wars stuff. Like, I was not crazy about The Phantom Menace, but I enjoyed it because it was something new with Star Wars, and I was totally cool with whatever George Lucas wanted to do. And I know a lot of people got upset about it, And the new series, I've liked the new series. I think I was most nostalgic about The Force Awakens, because I think they really played it safe in that movie, and I think that they did that on purpose to just try to like get everybody back in, and they have this general audience that they're trying to satisfy, and I think they did that quite well. The mistake I think they made on the sequel trilogy is that they had a different writer-director plan for each of the stories, and that I thought was dangerous, and it turned out to not be very successful for them, because they had all this turmoil when they were creating the films. And I think what they should have done was just had the same person do all 3. And I guess JJ wasn't willing to do that for the sequel trilogy, even though he kind of ended up doing it. But I think if they had some consistency to the creative component, it probably would have gone over better with folks. But I liked the movies. I actually liked The Last Jedi. I thought it was different and it took a lot of risks, and I think that's what you need sometimes too. So I want to thank a couple of folks who just contributed. We have Matthew Stevenson, who became a new member. Welcome to the membership fold. We'll give you a shout out tomorrow on the wrap up, and Vinny T is going to get a shout out tomorrow too for my Christmas present. Thank you very much for the super chat contribution. And we're going to go hit my overhead view here and see what we got in the box here. All right, let me just clear off some of this stuff here. By the way, I did a review of this little tiny game controller the other day on the main channel. I would love to hear from the subscribers watching the stream right now if you saw this in your feed, because this didn't do well initially, and I don't think anybody watched the video. I got some viewership, but not a lot. But this is like a full-blown game controller, and it's like super tiny. So, all right, let me move this stuff out of the way here, and we will keep going. Let me just pull this cable out of here. All right. Okay, so I think we'll just kind of do it from this angle. All right, so 3, 2, 1. All right, so this first item came in from QNAP, and there's a lot of packaging here to work our way through. So let's see what is inside. Now this is something rather unique. This is, let me get it oriented in the right direction here so you can see what we're looking at. This is a network switch, but it also has a network attached storage device, I believe, built inside. So it has some additional functionality beyond just being a network switch. And we're going to take it out of the box here and see what we've got inside of it. I think it's a NAS. Let me just look that up real quick. That was how it was explained to me. Matthew Stevenson, thank you very much for your Super Chat contribution as well. It is greatly appreciated. And I'm glad that you enjoy the work that I do here, because I just sit in my basement and make stuff and hope that people like it. So I appreciate it. And we got some other questions that came in. So Zam is wondering, if you're self-employed, are you required to give yourself federal? Nope, you are. You can work as many or as few days as you want. There is no limitation on that at all. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm just going to log a clip here. And Vin Lee in Australia is here. Welcome. And Eric's Variety just finished watching Junkyard Dogs, or Junkyard Digs. So he is on the chat here as well. And Kirill Larson is on winter break and can watch videos without academic consequences. I always love those times. Yeah, that's what's funny. I get so nostalgic for technology around this time of the year, because this was when I would often get new technology as a gift, and it was also the time of the year where I'd have time to actually play with that technology. So that's why I do my retro review around the holiday season. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a NAS as well. All right, let's get it out of this box here and see if we can figure that out. It's like really in here. There's no room to play with this at all. So let me get that going. Stephen Drivik from Georgia, North Georgia, with the Santa emoji. Thank you for the happy holiday wishes. I've got to do some holidays in a little bit with folks, so we're going to be hopefully able to unbox. I don't have many things to unbox, but I like to do an initial overview of these things before we do anything else. All right, let me get the, oh, all right, nothing broke there, folks, we're okay. So let's get this box out here. So I'm just gonna look this up because I just wanna make sure that it is, if it is what I think it is. Okay, so it runs QTS and supports hosting virtual machines, enabling versatile applications. And I believe QTS is the QNAP operating system. Yeah, so that high performance application services needs to share. Yeah, okay, good. All right. I think we're good there. And Eric says that it is 43 degrees in New Jersey, and it's about the same here in Connecticut. I just took my dog out for a walk because it gets, it gets very dark out early now because we're in the winter. Although yesterday was the first day of winter, so hopefully we will soon see, we will soon see things get lighter longer, or stay lit longer. Excuse me. So I am looking forward to having some more daylight so I can take my dog out for a walk and stuff. So this thing costs about $700, and it's a network switch that can also be a NAS at the same time. So I thought that was rather unique. And I thought this had 10 gigabit, but it's PoE. I'm just looking on here to see if it's gigabit Ethernet. Yeah, I guess, let me check one more note on this. I'm just trying to make sure I know what I'm talking about when I unbox this. Let's see, what do we got for ports on this thing? I'm just gonna pull up here if you wanna see what I'm looking at here. This is, okay, so it's got 4 times RJ45 gigabit, 60 watt PoE ports, 10 gigabit, Okay, so it doesn't have the 10 gig. So it's PoE. All right, so let me see what I said on the other on the other thing. I thought it had 10 gig. It doesn't. That would have been killer, right? If it had like the PoE and the 10 gig. But I believe it's just those things. So let's take a look and see what we got. Yeah, it does have the SFP ports, but I don't know what the speed of those would be. It's a layer 2. It is a managed switch, so it's layer 2. I'm just going to play this back real quick. So 3, 2, 1. All right, so this first item came in from QNAP, and there's a lot of packaging here to work our way through. So let's see what is inside. Now this is something rather unique. This is, let me get it oriented in the right direction here so you can see what we're looking at. This is a network switch, but it also has a network attached storage device, I believe, built inside. So it has some additional functionality beyond just being a network switch. And we're going to take it out of the box here and see what we've got inside of it. All right, it's good. I can salvage that. All right, so, all right, and I think we can go maybe to camera 2 here, get a little different angle. And then we'll see what we got in here. And I think for ports, let's just double check the ports on this again. PoE, let's see, port configuration, negotiation, Okay, so it's got number 3 is, you want to see what I'm looking at here? We'll hit 3, and we've got SFP combo ports. Although there's gigabit. Yeah, it's gigabit PoE plus SFP combo ports. All right. Okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got the box out of the box, and now we can open up the box that's here, and we'll see what's inside. This has PoE on some of the ports as well. So it's a smart switch. You can do your VLANs and everything. You can run your network attached storage out of it. And it has the ability to run virtual machines. So you can boot up Linux instances and Windows instances inside the switch itself. And I believe they're isolated. We'll check on all of that before we do the full review. So in the box here, we've got a power cord, a gigabit Ethernet cable, and a mounting bracket, it looks like, and some screws and stuff for that. I have a little instruction guide here as well. Let's get the overhead view back here, and we'll see what this switch looks like. And that is it. So let's pull it out of the box here. This looks like some heavy-duty pro gear. By the way, I forgot to mention, this is on loan from QNAP, so this goes back to them when we're done. I believe it costs about $700 or so, and it is heavy, by the way. You can easily rack mount this, I'm sure, to get a better configuration, or you can just have it lay flat somewhere. And we'll see what's inside. Now, this is not fanless, so you will need to keep its vents clear. It's powered by an Intel Celeron processor, and it looks like this one, according to this label, has 8 gigs of RAM built into it as well. So this is kind of a neat idea. And I've actually been thinking about setting up a VLAN here at the house, and I would need a, kind of a smart switch to manage all of that. So that's part of what we're going to look at with this thing, and we'll see how this does with all of that. So here it is. Let me get you my other angle here real quick to get a better view of it. And here you go. So you got a display here. You've got all your ports. The PoE is on these 4 here. This is a host port, so I'm assuming that might be a serial connection to get into the terminal screens to access it. You have HDMI out here. We've seen this on a lot of other QNAP devices. They actually have an interface that runs on a television screen. Got a couple of USB ports here. Again, this is the kind of stuff you would normally see on their NAS. And then you've got all of your gigabit Ethernet ports here, along with 2 SFP ports for expansion. It looks like we've got some lights here on the front to indicate disk usage and whatnot. Pretty cool stuff. I may want to try to pop this thing open, though, and see what's inside. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll continue with the other unboxings. All right. This thing looks rather interesting, I think. And Creedon just watched my Pi VPN video last night. Welcome to the family of subscribers. I'm glad you enjoyed that video. That was a fun one to make. And what's funny was I was surprised nobody had made one before, given how easy that process is to get a VPN working on there. So I think what we got to do here is get at 3 screws. I'm just going to log my clip here in case we want to do something with this for the holiday week. I'm just trying to come up with content for you all, so when I'm not able to make stuff, you can watch stuff. Daisy is with us on the Amazon side. Welcome. You can watch me here or on Amazon. There's a link in the video description if you want to check me out there. It looks like there are some PCI ports in the back there. I don't know. Maybe you can add a 10 gig card. I bet you probably could. So I've got some research to do on this before we do the full review. This will be one of those reviews that goes on for a while because this is a unique idea. So I like the idea of having something. I had to get my screwdriver. Oh, here it is. I like this idea of having something that can do a lot in one package. Although you could argue that you've got a bigger point of failure too, right? If everything is in one box and you lose that box, then you're in trouble. So I'd be interested in what reactions are to this. Although this could be like a good small business device. Because if you think about it, you know, a smart switch with PoE is going to run you a good amount of money to begin with. And if you have limited space, you can throw this in your equipment closet and you've got it all in one unit. And one of the things, you know, with QNAP and with Synology and WD to some degree is that, you know, they're doing all the updates for you. So some of these maintenance tasks are not as important. Well, they are, but I mean, you don't have to do them yourself. You know, you can have them do that for you. And what's been neat about these devices is that, at least the ones from Synology and QNAP, is that you buy them once and then they're supported for a good length of time. So there's some value to the purchase because you don't have to pay for ongoing maintenance. I'm guessing this is just going to slide off. Let's see. Yep, there we go. That's it. Okay. Let's see. So the question was whether, oh yeah, it does have 2 PCI slots there in the back. Very cool. So we should look now on the page before I say something about the expansion. So let me research this real quick. And I'll put this up on screen for you here. This will be a fun one to look at. Okay, so you could put a 10 gigabit Ethernet card in those slots. So let me open this up here and show you. And I think we ended on there. Vincent on Amazon says it looks like it supports the 10 gigabit cards. Yep, it does. Yep, he did all the research too. Thank you for that, Vincent. Very much appreciated. I should have waited for your chat, and I would have seen all of it before I did that. Let me put this over here real quick, and we'll open it up. And really what you can think about this is like it's a PC. All right, and I think what I might do actually, I think I can just point it out this way. We're kind of zoomed out. But you know what? Maybe I could probably zoom in a little bit better here, I think. I love having this overhead camera. It's funny, I had bought this camera as like a spare for another project I was working on. And it turned out to be really great because it's the same camera I use for the other two. So it's really good. And I'm actually thinking about upgrading to a new TriCaster, which would do 4K. And these cameras can output 4K. So it'd be a really neat thing. Yeah, so it's a PoE switch and a NAS and essentially a little PC all in one. So it's a cool idea. It's all on one package. All right, so we're going to start off on this shot, and I'll just do my countdown here. 3, 2, 1. All right, so here it is on the inside, and of course this is where your Intel processor is. I believe this is one of those Gemini Lake chips. This one's got 8 gigs of RAM, which I believe you could I hate saying I believe because I'm not sure. So let's take a look and see what you can upgrade to. I think these are limited to only 8 gigs. I don't think you can go to 16. Oh, it supports dual channel. Okay, so you know it's got must have 4 gigs on the board. Oh, it's got 2 of them. Never mind. Okay, so 8 is the max. 3, 2, 1. So we just opened up the case. It's very easy to get into, and as you can see, there is a lot of room in here for some expansion. Now this supports dual channel memory. It's got 8 gigs installed right now, and that is the maximum. This is your Intel Gemini Lake chip here, so it's not a super fast computer, but it's going to be good enough for some virtualization, some Docker, and some NAS functionality. You've got your network switch components here, again, along with PoE on the first 4 ports. Right here, you've got 2 SATA slots for hard drives. This will fit a 2.5-inch drive, so I'll probably install some of my spare 2.5-inch SATA SSDs in here, so we'll test that out when we do the full review. And then here's something cool. You've got 2 PCI Express slots on the left-hand side, so you could slide in a 10 gigabit Ethernet card and add 10 gig to the mix as well. If I'm feeling ambitious, maybe we will try that. But that's pretty neat to have all that on here. And again, this is a switch and a NAS and essentially a PC, and you've got it all in one unit. And I'd be interested in hearing from folks as to whether or not it's a good idea to put all of this stuff inside one device, although I think in many small office environments it might make a lot of sense. So yeah, we'll be playing around with this thing some more. We might actually do a live stream as I get everything configured, so stay tuned for that. All right. Now we got to put it back together. I'm not going to boot it up now because we're just doing unboxings right now. And I have to be closing up the stream in about 35 minutes or so. So let me just put this on here. This is 903 QNAP Part 3. And I believe I mentioned it came in on loan. If not, I can add a thing later to that. So let's put this back together. This will be a fun project to pick up after the new year, because right after the holiday hustle and bustle, I am off to CES, and we have a sponsor this year for CES too, which is great, so that'll help. And we're going to do our usual dispatches, but I think I'm going to have a couple of other new things in the mix too. The dispatches I love doing because those seem to do really well. Last year's dispatch had a good amount of traffic. Yeah, McRambo, there's a lot of usefulness for this, I think, because you've got, you know, PoE, and you've got, and QNAP has their own security software on their NAS system also. So you have it kind of all in one unit here. So it's a neat idea. And this will take a while. This is one of those things that some of you have been seeing, like some of these reviews take a long time to shoot, and they take even longer to prepare because I'm trying to figure out the best way to get everything situated and working. And I'm still trying to get my retro review ready to go. So I've been doing, so just so you know, what I've been trying to do with the retro review is we're going to do the Mister, and I'm going to have the Mister run some of the computers that I had as a kid. And in the case of the Apple II, I actually have not only software that I ran as a kid, which of course you can find pretty easily out there, but I also have some of my data disks from back then, including some letters that I wrote to companies. So I guess when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, our teachers were talking about, you know, when you write to a company, they feel like if you write to them, then you'll, you know, it's like having 12 or 15 other people writing also, you know, like the representative sample kind of thing. So when they said that, I just started writing letters to every company that I had some kind of idea or grief with. So I wrote, this was a funny one. I had a Panasonic printer. It was a Epson compatible printer, and the ink ribbons would run out. Talk about like today's problems, right? The ink ribbon on this printer, it was a dot matrix printer, would run out like super fast, and they were expensive. So I wrote as a 4th or 5th grader to the company complaining about their ribbons. I wrote to Nintendo with some ideas about having their console run ColecoVision games. I have one thing about a New Year's resolution that I didn't keep about cleaning my room. There's some fun stuff on there. And I'm just trying to like figure out the best way to do that video because there's so much you could dive into. And we're going to look at a couple different platforms. So the Mister will run the Apple II, it'll run the Mac, It also runs the, gosh, I have so much stuff down here. It also runs the Timex Sinclair, this thing right there. It runs that. And so I found some old cassette games. I don't have any data from that one, but I did find some games, if you want to call them that, from that era. So we'll kind of step through some of that. I'll show you some of the Apple stuff. But what I found, I was kind of disappointed with too, is that the Mister is great on the consoles, and it's great on some computers, namely Commodore 64 and Amiga. But the PC one is not quite there. The Apple II one isn't quite there yet. So we're going to look at some stuff, but it won't be as complete as I was hoping, just because the compatibility isn't all there, especially on the PC. But on the PC, I don't think you always need like that FPGA realism. So you could probably get by with DOSBox for a lot of older PC titles. But it'll be fun just to boot up Windows. I actually found, on the Windows side, I was the editor of my school newspaper, and I did all of the newspaper layout on my PC at the time. And I have all of those old newspapers saved, so we can take a look at some of that too. All right, let me just get some of this plastic out of the way, and we'll do the next item. And if you're on Amazon, you'll have a sneak peek as to what I am about to unbox next. But I think we'll do another one that just came in from overseas. Look at this one. It's well padded. Brian Parker is here. So I just talked a little bit about Star Wars. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, so don't worry. You don't have to turn off the stream. But I saw it, and I enjoyed it. I had, so Brian's been to one of my showings. So what I do, I have a theater locally that is really flexible. And they let me buy out a theater. So that's what I do every year. So I buy out a theater, and then I have people that I know come. And they reimburse me, obviously, but it's great because everybody in the theater has some connection to each other, and we all get to see the movie together. And Brian's been to one of those showings too. And the theater is actually better this year. They upgraded their sound system, so it was good. And I was saying before, I like anything Star Wars, so I'm going to be happy with it no matter what. But I thought it was good. I think it was a good way to end whatever they were trying to end, and it's there. And I think the problem with Star Wars, as I'll talk about tomorrow in the wrap-up, is that I think a lot of fans just want it to be the same every time, which is why Rogue One was so popular and so well received, and why The Mandalorian is doing so well, because it's in that universe that you're familiar with from that era. And I think they've created such a large universe and so many different ways to interpret the content that I think you're going to end up with like 3 different tiers of fans. Some who like the really new stuff, some who like the old stuff, and some who like the prequel stuff. And good for them, though. They've got a lot of marketing opportunities within all that. So that's that. All right, so let me just get the label off of this one. This is my mailbox, so it's not a big deal if you see my address, but all right. So we're just going to I'm trying to figure out the best way to get into this thing. This is a PC from Chewy, speaking of Star Wars. And we'll see what it looks like. I thought what they should have done is they should have started, because Sean Couture here is talking about Rogue One. I think they should have started their Disney era with Rogue One, because I think that would have gotten the fans comfortable that they're not going to screw up things. And I think that would have probably been the better starting point. And I think to some degree they could have made The Force Awakens more different had Rogue One come out first, right? Because you would have them knowing that Rogue One is there and that the company understands what the fans of the original trilogy want to see. They could have done that and then gotten real crazy about the sequel trilogy. Because I think what George Lucas was unhappy with Disney after they took over was that they made he said they made a retro movie. And they kind of did, right? It had a lot of familiar tone to it. And then when they came out with The Last Jedi, it was jarring because Rian Johnson is a very different type of filmmaker than making these blockbuster films. He's a story guy, and he made a really I think. I mean, there's certainly problems with it. I think he had some challenges in conforming to whatever they were trying to move forward from the other films. But his story was very unique and different. And having that movie sit in the middle, I felt just didn't work. Because you had J.J. Abrams, who's the blockbuster guy, making a very popular movie, and then you've got Ryan, who's a storyteller. Like, they should have given Ryan his trilogy and let him do all that and do whatever he wants with some of his own characters, and that would have, I think, made everyone happier. And I think it would have had more consistency to the flow of the new trilogy. And I enjoyed it. I'm pretty happy with it. I think more Star Wars the better in my book. But I will say this. The Mandalorian, I have smiled more at The Mandalorian than I have with any of the other new Star Wars content. I think whatever they're doing with that is just so well executed. Every episode has been great. I was just to give you an idea, I'll get into the more unboxings here in a minute, but once you get me on Star Wars, that's it. I'm going to start talking about it. So I was in first grade when Return of the Jedi came out. I was my daughter's age. My daughter has no interest in this stuff anymore at all, never did. But I was in first grade. My mom came and got me from school, and we went over to the movie theater in town. And this was like, I wish I had a camera for this, because this would have been quintessential 80s. This was like the right after school matinee. Every teenager from the area is lined up down the street for the movie. It was insane. I couldn't believe that there was that many people in line. And we were going to go to the show after the one that all those kids were lined up for. And just dressed in the 80s hair, everything. It was just, I could remember it like so vividly. So we saw the movie, and then I went and saw it another 8 times. So I saw it 9 times in the theater. And then it took 3 years for it to come out on home video. So you can imagine as a little kid, that's like a lifetime, right? So I always wanted to see a sequel to Return of the Jedi. And that's what The Mandalorian feels like, because it's so close to the end of that film. And I won't give anything away there either, but like it's its own story, but the things that have happened in the main storyline are creeping in, and it's awesome. So, and it's disappointing that there's only 8 episodes of The Mandalorian. That's the biggest disappointment, because I think if they should have done 10, just because I'm not ready for the end of that. And then Sean is right. This is, by the way, this is the golden era of sci-fi, because after we get through the new year on January 22nd, Captain Picard comes back. I'm excited for that. I'm just like, I'm all in. One Man Show is talking about the healing power. I'm not going to give anything away. I'm not, but you should see the movie because there's some of that. Okay. Let us get to the next item. All right. So start off on me. 3, 2, 1. All right, this next item came in on loan from Chewy, and when we're done with this, we actually are going to send it off to the next reviewer to take a look at, so it's kind of fun to spread this around. Now, here's what the thing with Chewy is. I've been reviewing laptops for a long time, and Chewy is one of these brands from overseas, probably I think they're in China, that you probably haven't heard of, but what they make are computers that look pretty cool and don't cost all that much. But I often like to warn people to buy these at their own risk, because there's not a very good customer service infrastructure with these folks. So if you've got one that works, you're going to be in good shape. But if it doesn't work, you're going to have some problems, I think, getting those issues resolved. So one of the good things about buying from Amazon is that you have some recourse and protection through Amazon. But just keep in mind, this is always a buy at your own risk kind of enterprise with these folks. So this is their new U-Book. The one we got here is preloaded with Windows. It's got a Gemini Lake N4100 processor on board, along with Wi-Fi, IPS 1080p. So that's good. I think this is about $350 at the time I'm recording this video. So let's see the best way to get into this box here. So we're going to start with the main unit. They sent me a computer with the tablet and the keyboard and a pen. So that was the first thing we took out of the box here, was the pen that goes with it. This will, of course, work with all the Windows 10 pen stuff. And in the full review, which we'll have here on the main channel, I will, of course, demo that. So this item here is the power brick. So you all know what that is. And let's pull the rest of the computer out here. Yeah, it looks like they, I'm doing a live stream as I unbox it here, and it looks like they do have a version that might come with Linux. We always try to install or at least run Linux on these things, so we'll definitely test that in the full review. And this one we may not get to until after the holiday season here. This is your instruction manual, and you've got whatever this is. And the computer is like wedged inside of this piece of foam here. So let me see if I can get it out. They don't want this thing breaking on the way to your door. So here's the tablet component. It's got that stuff on the display right here. Feels pretty good, actually. It's metal. You got a camera in the back. This is like one of these Surface clones. You got the pogo plugs for the keyboard here. Let me switch my view here and give you a better image of it here. So not bad. It actually feels very surfacey in its feel because it is metal. So it's a bit cold because it's been out in my garage waiting for me to unbox it. And there's a hinge here for putting it up on your desk like so. So, you know, for a Chewy device, it actually feels somewhat decent. But again, the proof is in the pudding as far as the long-term reliability. Headphone jack here, you got a USB 3 port there. USB Type-C here, we'll test and see how fully functional that is. You've got another USB 3 port here and a micro USB. So let me check the power adapter. And so this is a round plug power adapter, and it looks like it's given you 12 volts at 2 amps, so it's not going to be USB voltage, so you should be able to power that chip at a decent rate. And I'm guessing, you know, I thought that might have been a headphone jack, but I think that's the power. Nope, power's on this side. Okay, there's the power over here. And that's the other thing that drives me crazy about these is that the headphone jack and the power jack look the same. And even me, who looks at this stuff all the time, often puts the wrong plug in the wrong thing, but hopefully it won't mess up anything there. So there you go. There's the tablet part, N4100 Intel processor on there, Windows 10. And we'll also make sure that Windows is properly licensed and all that when we get it going. And then this is the keyboard component. And this doesn't feel as strong to me. It feels a little cheap. And this will attach to the bottom via magnets, so that's good. And then it kind of kind of gets itself connected the same way the Surface one does. And let's pull out the hinge here. And there you go. You've got yourself, let me move this stuff out of the way here. You've got yourself a little Surface clone that costs less. And it's, yeah, I guess it'll work. So yeah, we'll get this thing installed and tested, and we'll run all our usual stuff on there and see how it does. Now, a Surface Go will likely be a little faster than this, but on this one you do have the 1080p display, so it's got that going for it. So yeah, we'll give it a shot and see what it looks like, but overall it actually feels pretty good for a Chewy product. I'm impressed with some of the improvements they've made here. By the way, there's also a micro SD card slot on the top there too. So stay tuned, we're going to have more on this one soon right here on the channel with a full review that we'll be having up very shortly. All right. Chewy. That's right. I always smile when I say Chewy. Nathan Martin is here. Hello. And Kirill says the U-Book reminds him of the High 12. Yeah, there's a place for these in the market. This is all Windows, by the way, Roop is asking. These are Windows machines. Eleazar is here on Amazon. I hope I got your name pronounced correctly. Welcome. Let me just log this clip and we'll get to the next device. And if I have time, I might actually do a very quick evaluation of one of these things that we're about to look at. What's nice about the Chewy part here is that we were able to do the whole thing without having to cut anything. So I'm just going to put this back in the box. I'm going to hand this off to Jake. So this one, I'm going to try to review this either before I do CES or right after. So we'll see how the time works. CES is going to be crazy as it always is. The hard part with CES is that it's so hard to get around. There is so many people there. And the way Vegas is kind of set up where you are, it's like really hard to find your way around everything. So even though I've been there now a million times, I've gotten better about planning out things and knowing what you can and can't do. So what I did the first time I went to CES is I made a bunch of appointments, and that was a big mistake because the appointments, even though they look close to each other on a map, it takes you forever to get from one to the other, so you're missing all this stuff trying to get over to different appointments. And it would work, appointments would work, if I had a staff and, you know, all this budget, but I don't have that. So what I've decided to do a couple of years ago, and this strategy has been working really well for CES, is instead of booking appointments, I just go and look around for stuff. So we're going to go to the startup section first. So we're going to do day one. We're going to do, so the show starts on Tuesday. And so we're going to do Monday night, we're going to do the, what are we doing Monday night? Monday night we're doing PepCom, which is a great event, my favorite event of the show. And the reason why I like doing PepCom is because you have like a couple hundred companies in one room, and you just go from one table to the next, and you can get a whole dispatch video done right there. So we're going to do that Monday night, and then Tuesday we're doing the show floor. Tuesday night there's another one of those all in one room things called Showstoppers. So we're going to do that Tuesday night, and then Wednesday we're doing the so the Tuesday show floor stuff will be the startups. So all the scrappier companies that don't get a lot of coverage. I love going to that one, and that's a lot because you got to really work that day because you got to go from 10 to 6 and you got to find stuff to fill up a video. And that's often hard because you don't know what you're going to come across. And like one year, it was all air purifiers. Like that was all they had there was air purifiers. So hopefully this coming year will be a little bit different. So we'll see. All right, let me get to this next one here. And we're going to do, I think I ended on me. So do it this way. This didn't come in this box, but the other box got mangled, so. All right. Zam wants to know, any update on the float plane sign up? No, I did, I signed up for float plane and they got back to me and they said they'd like to get back to me in a little bit, so that's fine. I'm happy to give that a shot. I'm probably not going to do any like windowed stuff. I think that might be the way it's going to work because they want you to maybe have stuff that's exclusive to float plane. And the way my content works is that most of my traffic comes from non-subscribers, so I'd hate to like window things in one area that only some people who are paying can see. So we'll see how it works. I'm looking for just another platform to host stuff on, and maybe if there's some revenue share, great. But yeah, I'm happy to upload everything there. Eric's Variety Channel says, CES must be a great time for Lyft and Uber drivers. It is certainly a big boom for the area because there's so many people there. But even that, it's impossible to get around because you got to get to a spot where they're going to pick you up. The good thing is that CES, if you stay at one of the official CES hotels, and they cover most of the hotels on the Strip and around it, you get a free bus back and forth. So that saves a little bit of aggravation. And then Lyft has these autonomous cars that come and get you. But what's funny is that they're autonomous, but they require 2 people to operate. So the car does drive itself, but you have a driver there who has to take over, and there's a guy with a laptop who logs all the bugs that they're encountering. And I'm telling you, like, it's going to be really difficult to get self-driving cars to work properly. So in one of these rides that we were taking, the guy was telling me that they had put up these concrete, I think they call them bolins, to prevent cars from driving up on the sidewalk. Because obviously that's an issue in many urban areas now with people doing some terrible things with vehicles. And they put these things up, and then some of the casino operators didn't like the way they look, so rather than paint them or whatever, they put like these little mini palm trees in between the pillars. And the cars thought those palm fronds that were blowing in the wind were people. And so they had to like program the car to know the difference between a palm tree and a person. It's crazy how difficult that stuff is. So yes. Anyway, by the way, thank you, Zam, for your super chat contribution. I answered your question but didn't thank you, so thank you for that. All right, so we're going to move on now to this item, and I just want to check. I think I ended on the laptop. Yep. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Now this next item is something I bought for myself. This is my annual holiday gift to myself, and I don't know why I got this other than the fact that there was a good deal for the holidays. So I have a 4K TV, as you all know, and I made the mistake last year or the year before getting an Xbox One S because the X at the time was a lot more expensive, and I said, I don't need it. But now I'm seeing like there's some real enhancements that Microsoft has brought to the One X. So this year, right before they announced next year's new console, there was some good sales on the One X, and I took advantage of that around the Black Friday shopping season. So I picked one up. They bundled it with this basketball game or something, but this was the better deal, getting that game. They had another one with the new Star Wars game that was bundled, but that one was not available, so I went with this one. And yeah, we'll see what happens with it. Now, what I need from all of you on this is some suggestions as to what we should do about content with the One X console, because obviously this has been out for a while. Every gaming channel that exists has certainly covered the One X. So I would love to get from all of you some things to look at on this one. And we will certainly explore that in an upcoming video. So let's take it out of the box though, because why not, right? So here's the top of it. And we've got the coupon here for the game. So we'll explore that later. And then we'll cut over here to camera 2. And I've got a bunch of Xbox 360 games that apparently will take advantage, my camera focus is here, will take advantage of what the One X offers. So that was part of the reason for doing this. And now I've got 3 Xbox consoles that I rarely touch. And like I said, this is not a smart buy, but I can get rid of at least maybe 1 or 2 of the other consoles. So I think what I might do is get rid of my original Xbox console and then keep the S down here for studio work and put this upstairs with the other things. So this is the HDMI cable. And we've got a controller in here. This is your run-of-the-mill Xbox One controller. Although they added some texture to the back of it. It feels a little bit different than the ones that I've used before. And I've got the white One S controller upstairs. They give you some batteries in here too, so that's good. And then the console itself, let's unbox that. And what's impressive about what Microsoft has done with their hardware is that they have gotten everything not quite shrunk down to size, but they have everything in a form factor that has it all self-contained now. So when I first got the Xbox One, they had this huge power brick that had its own fan on it. And they've really managed to consolidate things significantly. And even this more powerful console is much, much smaller than the original, less powerful one was. So pretty attractive looking. It's bigger than my One S, I think. Or maybe, I think it is. I don't know. I'll have to go check it out upstairs. But yeah, it feels a little bit bigger. It's got a little bit of a thing that hangs off the side here. And what's funny is they don't want you to move the console without first removing any discs inside. So it looks like there's some risk of scratching your discs. And the DVD drive is right down here. So it's got an IR blaster there, USB port right up front. And then on the back here, you can see the power is integrated just like the One S is. So I can just plug the power in there. You've got your pass-through HDMI. And I don't think a lot of people are really using that pass-through feature, but they've kept it in here. 2 more USB ports, IR out, your optical out, your gigabit Ethernet, and that is it. And I'm really eager to hear how noisy this thing is going to be or not. It's actually got some decent weight to it also. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing around with this, and I would love to get some feedback from all of you as to what you might want to see from me in an Xbox One review, because again, this has been out for a while. I'd like to do something that's relevant to you because that will certainly be more beneficial to the viewers. I'll certainly look at it as a home theater thing, and maybe revisiting the Xbox as a home theater client might be useful. We did a video about a year or 2 ago comparing the Xbox One S to the NVIDIA Shield. And maybe we might want to revisit that and see if the One X brings anything different or if there's any new features that we should talk about when making that comparison. So that will be coming up after the holidays as well. And maybe if I get time, we could do a little live stream with me playing with my new console here. But the price point was really good on this over the holidays. And I figured, hey, why not? Let's get one and see what it can do. All right. Yeah, so Zam says, let me answer some questions here on the Xbox. So Peter Norland likes the way I switch from one thing to the other. Yeah, I do everything live in real time. So the best way to think about, and if you've been following the channel for a while, you hear me say this all the time. The best way to think about this is from the standpoint of I am essentially doing a live stream even when I record. And what that allows me to do is have far less editing to do after the fact. So that's how I've been producing content. By the way, I think I paid like $300 for this, which is a lot less than what it was when it first came out. Maybe even less than that. I can't remember now. Maybe it was $249. I think, you know what, maybe I paid $249 for it. I never pay retail. I hate paying retail. So I'm always looking for deals, especially for things that I just would impulse buy. This was an impulse buy. And it's actually been sitting in the box for the last week. I just haven't had time to play with it yet. So that might be something I do tonight, get it fired up. All right, so 9:05, Xbox One X unboxing. All right, next item, last one, and then we got to go. So this one is going to be neat, and this will be one of those, let's see all the things we can do with it kind of device. And I think I might have a little bit of time to do one little test with this, and then we'll do more in a regular video. Because again, I've got to get moving soon, but I've been eager to play with this. And this is one of these things that is like, the rest of the world could care less about this, but there's a need for something like this for certain people, and it might be beneficial for them. It's not entertaining, it's not a game or anything, but I'm going to keep this. Well, if you're on the Amazon, you already know what it is. All right, so I think I'll zoom in just a little bit on that overhead camera. Let's pull that up real quick, and we'll just go in a little bit closer on that. And I ended on the Xbox console. Okay, so we'll pick it up on me. And we'll just unbox it this way. And then I'll run upstairs, and I have to run upstairs to do part of what this does. And then after we get through this, I got to get out of here because people are going to be looking for me soon. Okay. I haven't gotten to text from my wife yet, but when that comes, then I'm in trouble. So, and by the way, my wife is a second-degree black belt in Kempo karate. And she's learning Burmese stick fighting now. In fact, one Christmas, I got her a pair of sticks and armor for her martial arts. John Doe wants to know if the Xbox One X can play emulators. It can't, although you could probably sideload stuff on. Although I think, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that RetroArch is on there, but I have to check. That'd be a good topic to look at. Eric might want to buy my Xbox from me. I'm happy to sell it. This will probably be the original, not the One S. Just because the One S is easier for me to move around, so it usually lives over there, and then I bring it over to the table here for that stuff. Camron says it looks like the PS2. It sure does. Zan wants to know if it still supports the Kinect. I believe it will still work with the Kinect. I have one upstairs. Lone Wolf is from Macedonia. Welcome. You know, I think when I was in high school. Yeah, we did do this. When I was in high school, I was in Model UN, and I think one of the countries we had one year was Macedonia, and we met with the ambassadors from Macedonia. We went to New York City for our Model UN trip. It was really cool. Yeah, Mark was thinking definitely HDR movies. Yeah, I'd love to see if it supports Dolby Vision. Aaron Johnson says the Xbox One X is a terrific console. It can be used for a lot of uses, home theater as well as gaming. HDR would be great for movies. He's from Washington State. Good comment there, Aaron. Good to see you here. I see you on my channel quite a bit. And Lone Wolf says you better be careful about how late you are. Yeah, that's it. Well, the best part for work usually is that I work down in the basement and she's upstairs, so I don't have far to commute. But I do have to get out of here in a minute. All right, so we're going to start off on the last item here. We're going to do one quick test of this, and then I got to get out of here. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, now this next item might be of interest to people looking to extend a USB connection. This one came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. It's from Triplight, and this will extend USB 2.0 over Cat5 Ethernet. And let's take a look inside the box here. So you have a manual as to how to use this and the distance that it supports. So the distance, I believe, is less than what Ethernet can normally provide you for a network. So the maximum distance here is 164 feet, and that is it. But it will do USB 2.0 speed. So there's all the specs on how to use it. You can let them know you're listening. This, by the way, I think I mentioned this already, but this came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. This is the first component. So there's a power adapter, a transmitter, and a receiver. So let's open up the power adapter here. And I'm guessing this is going to be probably 5 volts, 2 amps. Let's take a look at that. 5 volts, 2 amps on the power adapter, your standard tablet-style USB voltage. And I'm guessing some of that power is going to be used by the transmitter itself. And maybe in the full review, we'll measure the amount of power going through it, because that might be of interest to some people. Now, this is the receiver. So this end we're going to keep down here, and the power goes in there. It's actually interesting. The receiver gets the power and not the transmitter, huh? And this device here is the transmitter. And what this does is you plug this into the computer, and this, or I guess the Ethernet. So now I'm confused about this, because you would think the receiver is what you would be receiving from, but apparently it looks like you plug the USB device into here, and then this end connects to the computer. So we'll try this out here and make sure I got the order of things correct. And what I'm going to do real quick is actually run a USB hard drive up to my daughter's bedroom upstairs. Now, her bedroom used to be my office, so I have an Ethernet drop there that's not being used. And I'm going to connect to it down here in the basement and see how this works and make sure that my order of things is correct. So let's have a look at that. All right, so now I've got to make sure that I understand how this thing works. So let's look at the instructions real quick. I rarely look at instructions, as many of you know. All right, so installation. Let's look at the... Connect the built-in USB cable on the transmitter to any available USB port on your computer. Connect the RJ45 ports on the transmitter receiver units with Cat5e6 cable. Connect the external power supply to the receiver unit and plug it into a trip light surge protector. Of course, you got to use their trip light surge protector. All right, so I guess it does work the way I thought. Okay, so what we're going to do is I am going to plug this into my MacBook here. And on the other end, I'm going to connect a hard drive upstairs. And we're going to see how all this works. And I'm really eager to see if this hard drive will work, but we will see. All right, so I'm going to plug that in. I got to plug the power in, and then I'm going to run upstairs and run a really super long cable. I'll show you my messy equipment room here too. So I've got a box in here. Let me get the. I think it looks okay in here for now. So let me switch over to my other camera here. This room is a total disaster. I'm hoping, too, over the holiday break to have some time to clean this place up, because it's just a total disaster right now. So I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. So we're going to run a cable out of this room over to my computer. And I've got a super long Ethernet cable. And I might be exceeding the distance here, because I don't know how much length there is on the cable running upstairs. And I think this is like a 50-foot cable. So this might be a 25-foot cable. I should look up what length cable this is. Looks like 25 feet. All right, so let's plug this into her spot here in the office. And what might be fun, actually, is to plug the device in after everything is all set up, just to see what happens here. All right, so I'm going to plug this end into here, and then I'm going to connect power up to it also. Where did I put the power cable? There it is. The other problem I have here is that I have like a ton of power cables, and you have to label all of them so you know what goes with what. Otherwise, you're totally out of luck. All right, so this is going to go up. Oh, I see. This makes sense. Okay, so this is going to go upstairs with me, because I have to plug this into the power cable. So what I'm going to do real quick is run upstairs with a patch cable, and I'm going to plug this in along with the hard drive. So let me get a USB hard drive out real quick. I'm going to use one of my little Samsung drives here, I think. And then I should have a USB 3 cable that can go to USB-C, although it doesn't really matter because it's only USB 2 speed, but we should have that cable somewhere. And yeah, this is like a total mad scientist lair now, and things are just, I mean, I can't tell you how awful this room looks right now. Let's see. You know, I've got a cable in the other thing here. Let me grab that real quick. And then I got to get moving, folks, because I've got to be somewhere else other than here right now. Okay, this will work. So what I'm going to do before I go up there, though, is just check and make sure that this drive can connect to the computer. So let me plug this in and see if it works. So we got this, let me get my camera back over here. All right, zoom in. I made the room far worse right now than it was when I started, so this is like going to be one of those horrible experiments here. Okay, so we have the hard drive just plugged into regular USB. I'm just going to plug it into my computer to make sure that it will work. And then I'm going to go upstairs and plug this into that thing up there and see what happens. Okay, so it's plugged in. And either this cable doesn't work or something else is happening here. There it goes. Okay, Samsung is working. All right. All right, so I got stuff on there. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to detach this. Come on now. So I'm going to detach this real quick and run it upstairs. And we're going to plug that receiver in when I come back. So everyone stay put. Be nice to each other, because I am going to go upstairs and plug all this stuff in. And then I'm going to come back down here and we'll see if it's working. So I'll be right back. You might hear me. I'm going to keep talking as I go upstairs. I'm not sure if my microphone can travel that far, but it might. And now I'm in the garage. And now I am upstairs. I'm going to go up to my daughter's room and hope the dog doesn't see me, because if the dog sees me, she's going to want to play or something. So let me go up these stairs here. And then I got to get out of here because I'm going to be in deep trouble. All right, so turn the lights on in here. And I got to remember to take this back when I'm done, because my daughter will be very unhappy with me if there's a bunch of computer stuff on her bed when she gets home. Okay, so we are plugged in. Now I don't know. I better turn on all the light switches here too, just to be safe. It doesn't appear to be a light. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so now it's lit up. And now, and I think I plugged it in. Yep, we're good. So I'm going to run back downstairs now. I think I still have a connection to you all, so you're probably hearing me blabber away here. Okay. And the only thing we're going to try to do here is just see if it connects to the hard drive. And if it does, great. And if not, then we will come back with something else. Okay. Okay, I'm back. So the mic didn't skip a beat. Yeah, these Sennheiser mics are great. I did a review of them a long time ago, and they are fantastic. Okay, so now, where did that thing go? Here it is. Okay, so now we've got it connected here. Whoops. And what I'm going to do is put the Finder full screen here. And I'm going to do this. And, whoa. And I've got this USB hub that is like very, very touchy. So let me do that again. That'll reconnect. And now what we're going to do, hopefully everything stays put here. All right. Okay, so now I think I can just describe what we're going to do here, because we're going to end on, oh, I got to add the clip here. Give me 1 second, folks. And then we're going to have to call this one quits right after I finish this. But I will be back, because I enjoy doing these streams. This is the trip light USB part 1. Okay. All right. So we got that there, and then I'm ending on me. All right. So now I'm going to do this. That'll work. What a mess this desk is. 3, 2, 1. All right, pardon the messy desk, but what I've got here is probably a 25-foot or so patch cable, and this is running to a connector that then goes up to my daughter's bedroom in a different part of the house. And up in the bedroom, I have a USB hard drive attached, and I just want to see if this will work over that long distance. So let me get the laptop situated here, and let us plug in this adapter and see if it all works. So I'm going to connect this up via the USB hub that I have plugged in, and hopefully we will see everything connect up here. My hub, of course, just disconnected, and I can't show you the screen, but it looks like the drive is actually, there it goes. The drive is showing up here, so I have full access to this USB drive that's in a different part of the house. And I've got some old video footage here. Let's try to play something back here. Look at my hair back then. Yeah, that seems to be working. Maybe not. It just died on me there. Let's see if I can get back to that video. There we got QuickTime going here, and I can scrub through the file. So what we're going to be doing in the full review is we'll look at how much bandwidth you can get over this and whether or not this is something viable for doing storage over that long of a distance. I think the proper use of this would probably be mice and keyboards and other kinds of USB devices, but it looks like the drive is mounting here and is somewhat usable. So that's useful, and again, we'll explore some of the uses of this. We'll see what kind of bandwidth we can push over this connection. It looks like it just dropped out, actually. We'll look at what kind of bandwidth we can push over this connection, what the distance limitations are, and then any kind of latency that might come into play, especially if you're looking to extend a game controller or a keyboard and mouse and that sort of thing. So this one will be a fun one to explore, and I would love to get from you the kinds of things you would like to see in a review of a product like this. Now remember, this is not connecting over your network. It's using the same cable, but it is not going to be switched over IP. It is a direct connection between two ends. So you can't run it through your switch or something. It's got to be a direct connection in some way between that receiver and transmitter unit. So more to come on that, and that is going to do it for this random unboxing video. We'll be back with full reviews, hopefully, of all the stuff you just saw. And again, I would love your input as to what you would like to see in those reviews when we do them. So that'll do it for now, and until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right. And it looks like that thing completely cut out. So it's still lit up, so it's got a connection, but for whatever reason the Mac dropped it. So I'm just going to try it one more time here just to see what it gets. Yeah, we'll try it later. Oh, there it comes. It's back now. Does not seem like it's a reliable connection at this distance, and I might be beyond the recommended distance for it. So we'll experiment with that. I've got some longer Ethernet cables to mess around with. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing well with this hard drive. It started and then it just kind of dropped off there. So yeah, just dropped again. Yeah, we'll play around with this some more. All right, and I'm getting a text from my wife, so it's time for me to go. I'm leaving soon. All right. Let me just finish this up here. 9:07, conclusion. I think we are good. I'll take a few more questions, and then I got to run here. JD Transport says, American wooden houses. Yes, that is what I got here. I am in a wooden house for the most part. Although this house is pretty crazy, so I'll have to take you. I should show you the back room one of these days. I got some steel going on in here too, but. Yeah, so thank you all for tuning in. And of course, as usual, I get the most viewers right as I'm ending. But as you know, the holidays are here. I got obligations here that I've got to, good ones, being with the family and all that good stuff. So I've got to go run and take care of those things. But I will be back, and you can all let me know what you want to see out of that stuff. And now we've got some videos, and the best part is I actually shot 2 videos in the span of 3 hours, which for me is really good. So I'm just trying to get as much content put together for the holiday week, which is usually a week I don't have a lot of time to produce anything. So all right, folks, that is going to do it for now. Sorry, Sound in the City, who just got here. The good news is you can rewind and watch everything I just did. And if you don't want to do that, there will be a video of all the stuff that we just unboxed on the main channel. And now I've got a mess to clean up when I get home too. So anyway, folks, I would love to stick around some more, but I need to run and take care of family stuff. But I want to thank a few folks before I end here. Matthew Stevenson, who became a member during the show here. Vinny T, who made a Super Chat contribution. Matthew Stevenson, who also made a Super Chat contribution. And Zam, who also made a Super Chat contribution. I want to thank you all for your support of the channel and everyone who watched as well. I value views and Super Chats for sure. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. I look forward to getting all of your comments and suggestions on the videos that we'll produce from this. And I also want to just wish you all a happy holiday. I celebrate all the holidays, so if you do that as well, great. If not, please enjoy the holidays that you celebrate because it's a great time of year just to slow down for a week and just take stock of everything. And it's always good to start the year off trying to figure out what you're going to do, you know. And one of the best things about, I was just thinking about this today, like ever since I quit my job, the new year went from like what's going to happen to what am I going to do? It's a weird shift in thought, but it's very liberating to have that be the new outlook. What's going to happen versus what am I going to do? So that is it. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Enjoy your holidays, and I will be back soon. You'll probably see me streaming before the end of the year. But again, if not, please enjoy the holidays, and I hope you all get a little downtime and get some new gadgets to play with too. Okay, everybody, that's going to do it for now. I will see you all very shortly. And hopefully the missus will be okay with me leaving right now. Okay, see you in a little bit, everybody. Bye-bye.